Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Thomas. Today we're back here with PhantomStrider with the most hated Easter candy and why they're hated. It's actually not that long until we get to Easter, I think. Just checking my calendar. Pretty sure it's 2 weeks, but yeah, these are basically the worst of the worst. So let me know if you actually had any of these candies, and well, if you love them, let me know. Let's check it out.
Howdy. Want to
Hey.
chill and explore some sweet Easter treats for a bit? But unlike a tasty smooth Easter chocolate egg, these treats have notoriously substandard reputations. I got no big preface for discussing these Easter candies. I'm just going to give you something light and colourful. Just don't tell your dentist. Do you even have teeth, Boo?
Yeah, true.
Well then, these
That's
are the
pretty
most
good.
hated Easter candies. I guess the Easter Bunny was mad at me this year because he delivered many of these notorious terrors for me to taste test.
Oh boy.
Cadbury cream eggs and, oh dear, he managed to find a Peeps too. With that said, let's begin.
First up.
Our first hated candy is Palmer's chocolate eggs. There were a lot of recommendations for this hated
had
Easter
this.
candy, and you know, if I didn't know better, I'd say this was the masterminds behind the dreaded, generic Easter egg. Is this the brand behind my childhood Easter nightmares? Interesting how their brand slogan is, making candy fun. Yet their quote-unquote chocolate
crayon
made
line?
me and many
Bleh.
other kids assume that just chocolate tasted awful. All of it. Note how the chocolate packet
talking
says,
Rich, chocolatey candy.
Candy.
this is because their dollar store candy doesn't meet the legal requirements to be considered chocolate. So they
Really?
use the term
Chocolate?
chocolatey to try and get around it. For the FDA to
That works.
qualify a product as actual chocolate, it needs to contain a minimum of 15%
15%
cocoa and cocoa butter. Parma chocolate doesn't even come close to this.
Really?
In fact, when I asked on YouTube, many commenters didn't feel it tasted like chocolate at all.
Ow.
According to one commenter,
Palmer's recipe is nasty. They're simultaneously gritty, smooth, and waxy. The flavour is off somehow.
Palmer has just developed such a bottom rung reputation. Even the top comment discussing them on Reddit said the same thing.
They are god awful. I thought I didn't like chocolate as a kid because of stuff like this.
In fact, the big
Ouch.
question for some is, what do you actually do with them? It's not like they're edible.
How do I salvage Palmer chocolate
Why?
so I can actually eat it? It's vegetable oil with a smidge of cocoa mixed in. It's
Vegetable
gross.
And you know, Palmer was not just responsible for a nightmare taste, but a nightmare visual too. Just to mess with the kids, I guess. They made what is perhaps the creepiest looking Easter bunny in history. Jade on my blue sky showed me this beast. And yeah, those yellow and blue eyes made of hardened sugar are just
I'm good.
concerning.
Thank you.
What? It's just an ordinary Krabby. Oh my goodness!
And you know, kids
Oh my
deserve
God.
better than this cheap dollar shop mocklet. I think kids deserve candy that adults might eat as well.
Yeah, like if you're not gonna eat it,
Next
don't
up
buy
is
it, okay?
Peeps Easter bunnies. It's not uncommon to remember getting some Easter Peep bunnies or chickens in your
I'll be
Easter
honest,
basket.
try those,
But
just
by
not
far,
taste right,
Peeps
no.
was the most recommended
why?
hated candy for this video.
I like marshmallow, but Peeps texture is a big no. They're still
Yeah.
cute though.
The sweetness and texture particularly bothered a lot of people. Many people are put off by that mouthfeel.
I really dislike Peeps. The texture and all the sugar. Ugh. No,
No, thank you.
Thank you. I tried one and almost threw up on how sweet it was.
Ooh.
I love how Peeps smell. I just can't stand their mouthfeel.
The texture of food can matter a lot,
hey, Mama Strider.
particularly for people on the spectrum where sensitivities can cause an aversion to food textures, tastes, or smells.
Then how do we change that awful peat
What's
texture?
going on there?
One person commented that they found roasting them like s'mores made them more palatable, but they're
Really?
still a massively divisive candy. So why are these peeps
So is
so
it like the
notorious
outside
for being the
stuff?
most
I don't know
sickly
what's going on.
sweet thing on the planet for so many people? Well, they're made of marshmallow and covered in granulated sugar. And it turns out that coating gelatin, pure sugar, and corn syrup in more sugar is shockingly a little too sweet for some people. Even weirder, Peeps seem to have some bizarre side effects. According to Ginger Goddess,
My partner was once challenged to eat 100 peeps. He failed, making it only to 33 before
Jeez.
puking.
Comfortable
He
vomit?
said it was
Really?
the most comfortable vomit I
Ew.
ever had.
probably my favorite description of their taste was from Funny Blog.
Peeps just taste like stale marshmallows covered in glitter. It's like somebody tried to make marshmallows from packing peanuts. Ugh.
So if people aren't
Yeah,
eating
no
them,
thanks.
what are they actually doing with them? Weirdly, this actually appears to be a nationwide issue. In fact, entire top lists have been made
really?
giving Americans ideas on what to do with their leftover
That's a
peeps
good idea.
before they go stale. One of the silliest choices I found was peep jousting. You get two peeps and
jousting's
put them on a plate in a microwave with toothpicks stuck into them. Pop the microwave on and they'll inflate. The last standing peep to not be impaled wins. Also, last point, did you know Dr. Pepper peeps exist? I mean, commenters didn't like them much, but what creative hairless
Why?
monkeys we are, you know? And since it was an American candy store in my mall, we can taste test these peeps for ourselves. As you can see, I chose yellow peeps bunnies. Alright, here we go.
Damn it.
Oh, it's not the worst thing I've ever tasted. Honestly, I actually kind of like the texture. I guess it just comes down to your personal preference, but I'd eat them.
Fair.
One's enough for me, but they're okay. Oh, that extra sweet aftertaste though is a bit much, you know? I get why people are put off by that sweetness. I think these are a bit overhated. I didn't mind one. 1 or 3 is probably enough for me though.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I seem like, yeah, no. I mean, I'm just saying, like, they just always tasted off. Someone else agreed to let me know. Like I said, it's just never really tasted right. It was just like, yeesh. Anyway, next.
Our next hated Easter candy is Cadbury Cream Eggs. The Cadbury Cream Egg is a divisive candy. Once again, I got recommended to chat about it a
True.
lot. It's not the egg's chocolate
I don't know.
coating that people are mixed
I guess
on,
the
but that
innards.
questionable filling. Some people love it, and the ads do make it look like the most delicious, decadent filling ever. But a lot of people see it as a white, ugly, sticky mess that mostly ends up on their shirts. That special whitish yellow filling inside is basically liquid cake icing, aka fondant. It has a pillowy texture and it's colored to look like an egg filling.
I don't like fondant. I skipped it on our wedding cake because it tastes like granulated shit.
Well, that's why there was no fondant. Oh, well, some people must like it, otherwise it wouldn't keep selling. Mash Rank Cream Eggs is one of their worst Easter candies, though it still remains one of the most popular. Though even if it isn't visually appealing, how's it taste? Blueberry's comments said the sweetness was their issue.
I think Cadbury cream eggs are vile. Way too sweet. I have no idea why they are so popular.
Rick on my
I
Blue
think I
Sky
know
had
why.
a similar problem.
They're
think it's more the
essentially
commercial,
a
you know?
chocolate egg filled with
Oh, the-
fondant, which
Chicken?
tastes like pure
Oh,
sugar.
that and the
Some people
bunny
even
on the
commented
UK,
they
I
get
think.
stomach
No?
issues eating them.
They often
I think
hurt
it's
my
more the
stomach
commercials,
because
you know?
they're way too sweet. Cadbury cream eggs make my tummy hurt.
The Sydney Morning Herald described them as grossly cloying. It's so sweet it makes wedding cake frosting taste like Greek yogurt.
It's not on my wedding cake.
Bold claim, I'm getting curious. But I do have to mention, some people still really enjoy them, like 3 Cat Day.
I love the Cadbury cream eggs. My wife picks me up a few that I keep around as celebration treats.
The UK particularly loves their cream eggs, but a lot of Americans just can't stand the sweetness. This may be because the American cream eggs are made different to the UK cream eggs. In fact, the UK cream eggs sell over 200 million per year, according to the New York Times.
UK cream eggs have a primary ingredient of milk, while cream eggs in the USA have a primary ingredient
Why can't
of
we have the
sugar.
milk one?
The
I'm curious
milk
what that
gives
one tastes like.
chocolate that extra creamy taste.
New York Times tried both and felt the British cream eggs were fudgier and creamier, while the US cream eggs had less of a pleasing coating and a stale aftertaste. Doug despises the US ones, so he tried them in Ireland and
No, dude. Look at that inside. Look at that. Looks
Yeah.
nothing like the commercial.
he just can't stand that whitish orange fondant. On a side
Did he
note,
try
some of
the-
these cream egg commercials
try
were
the
very
UK one?
liberating.
No.
Like, I feel slightly awkward even showing you this commercial.
Ugh. Yikes.
Like, this egg has clearly found their special interest. I mean, how else am I meant to interpret this imagery?
Maybe they, nah.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Clearly, they found their happy place.
No judgment or anything, I just feel like I accidentally
Future, I
walked
guess?
in and they're
But
alone
still,
time.
yeah,
Anyway,
next.
as of recent years, these have actually started disappearing off Australian shelves. For the longest time, they were available every Easter, but now they're not. So I had to get this one from an import candy shop. This is the UK version, so let's give it a taste test.
Oh?
Oh, what are they talking about? That's nice. Yeah, I guess that straight white color is kind of off-putting. The chocolate's nice though, and it goes well with the fondant. I don't see what the big hate is about. I still like them personally. The UK version is definitely not too sweet for me personally. I give it 8 out of 10. Our next choice kind of surprised me. The solid chocolate bunny. In theory, these used to be the most amazing idea. Because as a child, you could bite into a giant hollow bunny, thinking, it's a bit disappointing that this is hollow. Imagine if this was amazing chocolate all the way through. But in reality, it's as Oscar Wilde said, there are 2 tragedies in life. The first is not getting what you want. The second is getting it. And the day did finally come that I tried a solid chocolate bunny. But Mash summarized the immediate issue well.
Oh boy.
When you have a 10-pound hunk of chocolate, you have no choice but to attack an edge or a corner, gnawing on it like a rodent chewing a piece of wood. You end up with a spitty mess.
Very slobbery, the cheat.
You see, once a piece of chocolate exceeds more than half an inch, it becomes almost impossible to bite into. Unlike the hollow bunnies, these solid bunnies don't go down without a fight. To the point that your dental health is a much bigger concern than finishing it, as the commenter Temmie Gaming mentioned.
Solid chocolate bunnies are so hard to bite through, it makes me worried I'm gonna break my teeth. It sucks.
Commenter Preston mentioned they were so hard he almost chipped a tooth.
Not to mention the price on these solid bunnies, it's appalling. $24 for a solid chocolate bunny, $15 for one tiny bunny, $34 for an Easter bunny. You've got to be kidding me. In the 90s, I could have cooked your dinner for a week on that.
Yeah, times have changed alright, and they were still filling meals with quality ingredients too. Anyway. Solid bunnies can be made by filling a mold with chocolate, and unlike hollow bunnies where the mold is turned so the chocolate is spread evenly, the bunny mold is completely filled. After the molds are put in the fridge for an hour, they can be placed together using some melted chocolate. And bingo, you got a solid chocolate bunny with no hollow disappointment. Good luck biting into it though. It's interesting because the solid chocolate bunny does have a good reputation for quality chocolate, but that mouthfeel and chewing ruins the experience. I think eating chocolate should always be pleasant, easy crunching. But having to gnaw on an ear or leg like a leopard chewing on a bone is a saddening experience. I asked some random guy in my comments and he had a similar experience. That's his name.
Solid bunnies are a challenge. I used to bite down as hard as I could, which caused me jaw pain. When I got older, I'd cut it into smaller pieces so I didn't have to bite down as hard, and I could ration it out.
Honestly, I respect that self-restraint to portion it out, but I think a little indulgence is important for kids on Easter. There aren't that many days a year where kids are allowed to eat more garbage than a trash compactor. Most of the rest of the days of the year is, you can't have this, you can't have that, no, put that back, put this back. And by the time you're well into your teen years, you probably won't feel like 10 Easter eggs anyway. On Reddit, someone just asked outright, what do you do with these solid chocolate bunnies? Since they had the problem of not even being able to bite into it. Someone replied to use knives, but who the hell gives their child a bunny on Easter and a knife to cut the chocolate? We want Easter smiles, not a trip to the emergency room. Though, I suppose you can always melt the chocolate a bit, though it's a fine line between an edible bunny and a drippy, melted mess.
Next.
Our next choice is chocolate marshmallow eggs. There's no better way to disappoint a kid than giving them a perfectly good chocolate egg, only for them to bite in and discover it's filled with icky, white, sickly sweet mush.
Josh, that's harsh. Not every child hated marshmallows as much as you did. Maybe it's a nice surprise for them.
Yeah, I suppose American kids do like marshmallow in all their cereals. Why not in their Easter eggs? Well, maybe reviewers like it. Let's see what our local shop Big W thinks of the Cadbury marshmallow eggs.
Sickly sweet. Don't bother. Horrible.
But again, I found people that say if you roast the marshmallow, it makes it much more pleasant. But if the marshmallow isn't roasted, it can get too stuck in the teeth and the mouthfeel is ratty. Mash went into the experience of biting a marshmallow egg step by step.
The first moment when you bite through that thin chocolate shell, you might be thinking, this isn't so bad, but then you realise the chocolate is bad, and by now you've hit the marshmallow and you start questioning your life choices.
Business Tech tried each marshmallow egg they can find and ranked them, because I guess that's something Business Tech does now. They found most of the marshmallow eggs didn't have much of a unique taste and were very indistinct. They just couldn't get past that all-consuming marshmallow sweetness and that billowy texture when you bite in. With a good quality marshmallow egg, you're looking for a chocolate without a lingering aftertaste and a marshmallow center without too much of a chew. But these are available in Australia, so we can find out for ourselves. Let's find out how the marshmallow egg tastes.
Oh, Josh, this is so biased. You hate marshmallow. You once complained to the donut shop that they didn't tell you that your donut had a marshmallow in it.
Well, I don't like marshmallow. The donut shop should have had a warning sign. Well, I may be biased, but let's keep an open mind. So, this is taste testing the Cadbury chocolate marshmallow egg. She's right, I don't like marshmallow.
Why are you doing this thing?
Oh, I just don't get the appeal of marshmallow. It's awful. It's really sickly sweet and has like a lingering aftertaste of tangy sweetness. It's just awful. How do people like these? 3 out of 10, maybe 2. Yuck. If you like marshmallow somehow, then you might like this. I just don't like marshmallow, I'm sorry. Oh.
Hey, just need a minute.
Never. Yeah. I don't recommend it. Yeah.
Well, I did warn you. Maybe
Mama
next
Strider.
time, give it to Nin to taste test.
Yeah,
could work.
I'll try it.
Yeah, okay, point taken.
Think.
And now for my least favorite, the candy sugar Easter egg. Okay, first obvious issue is appearance.
It's ugly.
Yeah, clearly no one ever said tone it down with these flowery, frilly things. I feel like barfing just looking at them. These candy eggs are hard to come by in Australia because so few kids want to eat them. But luckily, my local Big W has a review of the Star Gifts Candy Sugar Easter egg.
How is that a 5-star?
Bad orange. I don't like the orange because it's orange. Ew, orange. I do not recommend this product.
Well, I mean, they could have bought another one. I bought blue and yellow. Candy eggs are awful to taste for many, but they do inspire creative arts and crafts. A bit like cake decorating, some of these finished candy eggs are beautiful. The ingredients themselves have no chocolate to speak of. So, at least your dogs are safe, but I don't even think they'd eat this. It's basically just made of beef, gelatin, sugar, and like 500 different types of food coloring. You may notice I'm stretching with this, and that's because although this one was recommended, I can only find one review of these things.
Yep, there it is.
And that was a person who didn't like orange, so reluctantly I bought 2 at the only store I could find that sells them. When I asked a store clerk, they had no idea these even existed, and eventually found them hidden away on the top shelf.
Really?
As apparently I was the only person that year stupid enough to want to buy one. Honey, do you want to try one?
No way. They look gross.
Alright.
Oh, wow. Alright, Strider, you wanted this video.
But honestly, do they really look like they taste any good? This is more just our way of laughing at my questionable life decisions, so I guess let's get to that. As you get
Honestly, I think with those eggs, they're more decoration than for eating. I don't know. Even those, I would be like, decorations. Like, like I would not think like Easter candy, okay? That looked like a decoration. I'm just saying, this is what it looks like to me. Anyone else? Anyway.
You can see I pretty broke those with great effort and misery. Oh, you know those tiny chalky Valentine hearts with the stupid messages on them? It has that chalky, empty aftertaste, and I can't even get my jaw around it to make a good bite. Eventually I got a knife to cut it because I was worried about ruining my teeth on this hard as rock chalky sugar garbage. And even then, I couldn't cut it with a sharp knife. I finally gave up and just smashed it with my teacup, and success.
There you go.
It's very clear why these were recommended as a terrible candy. They taste like flavorless, sugary, hard chalk, and they just make me wish I was eating chocolate instead. So let's move on to something more chocolatey. Oh, that one gave me a stomachache. For our next Easter choice, we have the
Giant
hollow
hollow
wax
wax
chocolate Easter bunnies.
Oh, boy.
Surprisingly, these were the
that's a
second
lot.
most requested choice, right next to Peeps. No particular chocolate bunny brand was mentioned though. I suspect the main culprit isn't Cadbury bunnies like this one here, or maybe Lindt chocolate. Commenters referred to the true culprit as wax chocolate bunnies. And I remember some of those
Wax
awful
chocolate
dried
bunnies.
waxy bunnies as a kid as well. They're those super cheap bunnies on the shelves that are mysteriously a quarter of the price of other chocolates, and they're certainly not always worth the cheaper price. But sadly, with the cost of living crisis this year, I could see more of those El Cheapo bunnies were selling.
It's difficult to see the cost of living crisis in schools too. Most students' lunches have looked different this year. They're cheaper. Quality chocolate has got a lot more expensive, and many parents' wallets just won't stretch to Easter.
Yeah, honestly, it
Amen to
bums me
that.
out more than it probably should. Wish every
more-
kid could have a nice
like an
lunch
economic
and no
kind of
crappy
problem,
waxy
no?
chocolate on Easter Day.
Cheap chocolate bunnies are often a gamble. Sometimes a cheap bunny will taste fine. The kids are all smiles. And they get twice the chocolate that they would have from Cadbury. Other times the cheap brands will taste like perfume and they don't get eaten.
Well, how do millennials and Gen Zs remember these hollow terrors? Commenters weren't kind to them.
I don't
Right.
like the hollow Easter bunnies because the chocolate is waxy and not very sweet. They call these giant bunnies quote unquote milk chocolate flavoured, but they're always rock hard, cheap, and they suck. They're not worth the calories.
I looked hard, but I can only find taste tests of the high-quality chocolate bunnies like Lindt or Darryl Lee. So once
Another
again,
Cadbury
I'll
there?
taste test these generic bunnies myself. I got the cheapest, most generic brand I could find at Kmart, plus a Cadbury for comparison. I wonder if there will
Would've
be
gone
much of
with
a
Hershey,
difference
but
if
okay.
these cheap brands are still noticeably waxy. Has it changed in 30 years? That
let's
being
see.
said, in recent years there's been a lot of complaining on the internet that Cadbury bunnies also don't taste good anymore, that they've changed the recipe and it tastes all chemically now. So who knows, maybe both will taste lousy. First off, we'll have the comparison bunny of Cadbury chocolate. See how that tastes. It has been like 3 years since I've been into one of these. Here we go. Cadbury's really good at that nice milky aftertaste. It just has this pleasing flavor that just melts onto your tongue after a few seconds. I don't know how they do it, but it's just the perfect blend. Personally, I still think that tastes amazing. My score for Cadbury, 8 out of 10. Now,
go.
this was
Cadbury
half
wins,
the
okay.
price of Cadbury, so let's see if
Now
it tastes
for
any
the
different.
cheap brand. Look,
Oh, yeah,
Oh.
that aftertaste isn't great. It's funny how each chocolate brand has that different aftertaste and how it sits on your tongue. I don't know what they've done, but there's a more bitter taste to this one.
better, huh?
Oh. I don't know how these manage that medley aftertaste, but it's kind of how I remember it when I was a kid in that cheaper hollow bunny chocolate. I don't get that waxiness as much anymore, but I still get that kind of weird after medley taste. I don't know how they do that. Overall, it's not nearly as bad as generic Easter eggs, but this one gets a 3 out of 10 for
That
me.
makes sense.
We have licorice jelly beans and Bratz jelly beans. For nearly 100 years,
Really had-
jelly beans have been a staple in the Easter basket, mainly because of their egg-like shape. They're an easy treat to please the kids.
As long as they're not licorice jelly beans. I've never had a student who likes licorice. I don't even know if a child exists that likes licorice.
Yeah, I've certainly
I
never
think
met a
depends on
child
the
that likes
licorice,
them. I
honestly.
didn't start
I'm
liking
having
them until I
some
was
Australian
30.
licorice.
And even
Pretty
among
good.
my adult community, these
Good boy.
licorice jelly beans got a lot of recommendations for the worst.
Black jelly
Many
beans,
people were just reviled by these things.
I hate the black licorice jelly beans. That ain't candy.
Andy, that's a
That's a
punishment.
punishment. Black jelly beans were the bane of my existence as a child. Absolutely horrendous.
Back in the 90s, jelly bean flavors often contained every single flavor, including licorice. And I have bad memories of biting into the licorice ones and being grossed out as a child. Just how can anyone make that much concentrated sugar taste so horrible? And even then, even though they're common, some people don't like jelly beans at all. Rikiaf raised a good point, saying that they don't like jelly beans at all, but only because they come in huge waves. A few is alright, but we're often given jelly bean overload in a standard packet. And I really agree
Yeah, that
with
does sound about right.
Personally, give me 3 jelly beans and I'm like, cool, that was a treat, thanks. Give me half a packet, say 10, and I'm like, I'm getting really sick of these. They're kind of grossing me out. By a full packet, I'm feeling sick and never want to taste the concentrated syrupy glucose overload ever again. And apparently these flavor overloads still aren't intense enough nowadays. So now we get even crazier jelly bean flavors. Bean Boozled offers stinky socks flavor, toothpaste flavor, and dog food flavor. Wow's X also mentioned popcorn flavored and cream spinach flavored jelly beans. Oh my goodness.
Ugh.
Complicated,
Cream spinach jelly beans.
I guess for those people who really like cream spinach? Anyway, the one brand of jelly bean that was recommended as the worst and most hated was Bratch's jelly beans.
Bratch's, huh?
I couldn't find any in Australia, but fortunately designer Jen and her kids gave them a try. Apparently Bratch's does pancake-flavored jelly beans.
Really?
I want to try... I want to try pancakes.
Pancakes. Charlotte's gonna try a pancake.
And I think her child's reaction speaks for itself.
Ew.
They
She wanted the
spit
pancake.
every jelly
She goes,
bean out. Yuck was the resounding response. Jen said these Bratch's jelly beans had an awful aftertaste. They tried the blueberry flavor too, but the kids still spat them out. And if young kids are spitting out jelly beans, there's something that's gone wrong in the jelly bean department.
I don't like jelly beans. I don't like it though.
Yeah, they don't like it.
And really, Jen's face speaks for itself.
Holy crap!
So if you are planning on filling the Easter basket with jelly
make
beans,
sure you get some good
maybe
jelly
skip
beans.
the licorice flavor and the Bratch's flavor. For by far our strangest choice, we have the edible Easter grass. I mean, it's an
Grass?
obvious choice, but
Can
just
I
the fact
get
that
it?
this is an Easter candy at
Still,
all
why would you want edible
fascinates
grass?
me. Like, when you visualize the Easter bunny, who actually went, oh, I don't want those chocolate eggs, what about that grass the bunny is standing on? It looks delicious. Why can't I eat the grass instead of those horrible chocolate eggs? Well, if that's you,
Weirdos?
now you can. Unfortunately, you might be disappointed, as the reviews aren't that great on the taste. What were the
Yeah, I'm not
Amazon
surprised.
reviews like?
I used this for my Easter lamb cake. The presentation turned out great, but it tastes like you're vaguely thinking about apple while eating
Vaguely?
cardboard. It's
Cardboard
bad.
apples.
Sneakums tried to get it as a treat for her family.
Not
Yes,
tasty.
not-
Even my children wouldn't eat it. Nasty.
Well, at least it's not much harm nutritionally. It's basically just some potato starch sweetened with aspartame. My favorite tea
Maybe that's
sweetener.
why, the
But even
aspartame?
then, Gut Check said the grass was like munching a foam container. So yeah, probably stick to the eggs and bunnies. Not that I think you are
Or
eyeing
just
the
have your
grass
favorite
on your
candy.
eggs
Just
to
enjoy
begin
it, you know?
with. I mean, seriously, who comes up with this stuff?
I
And I've no big point to finish on. Whether it's Easter or not, I just hope you're having a pleasant week. Regardless of the
true.
week, I hope you be kind to yourself, talk to your friends, and be safe. Thanks for watching, and whether I see you next time or not, I'll be back. And a big thank you to my...
Whew. Hey, done with that one. Let me know. What was the worst Easter candy you ever had? And I know my favorite, so anything I don't usually like, I just throw it away. Just saying, if it ain't worth agreeing with me, I just don't eat it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Let me know what your least favorite is, and adios.